And we are back. Today we're continuing last week's discussion on my season 3 prediction video. In that video we talked about leaks coming to Shinobi Striker like Hokage and Naruto, a bunch of clothing, who I think the roster for season 3 is going to be versus who I actually want. So yeah, today we're pretty much just going into more detail, what ninjutsu I think each character will have and what class they will be. So the first character we're analyzing today is Neji Hyuga. Right off the bat, I think without a doubt Neji is going to be a defense type. Now I guess I should also mention, since we only got one defense type this season, it's without a doubt that we're going to be getting around 2 to 3 this time, whether people want it or not. And at the same time, his palm rotation technique is used by defense players. Not putting Neji as a defense type is like putting B at defense when Lariat is already an attack jutsu. It doesn't make any sense for Neji not to be a defense. There's a reason why Shinobi Striker won't release a variety of the same characters like KCM2 Naruto or EMS Sasuke. It's because they want you to experiment a little and make these builds by yourself. We already know Neji's PTS outfits are coming as an event reward, so putting Neji himself as a defense type allows you to make a PTS Neji build with palm rotation in there as a mix. Now on to his ninjutsu. I think Neji's first ninjutsu will be his 8 Trigrams vacuum palm. This move works very similar to Naikai's Shikizo, but of course not nearly as powerful. Shikizo's range is really good and you can't guard against it, so for vacuum palm, I think this move when hit should push players back by a great distance. Now because it's a defense jutsu, I won't give it the ability to guard break because, you know, fuck defense types.
Yes sir! This nigga's spitting! Damn, nigga!
But like I said before, I do think that it should push players back a great margin, while also slowing movement speed. Even if you're guarding, it should hold enough power to push players off the base, like Rinnegan. His second ninjutsu should be the 8 Trigrams Gale palm, where you thrust a strong force of air, I guess, onto a player. I know that basically is air palm, but how this could work is like in Storm 4, where Hinata's ninjutsu, if you continuously press the jutsu button 3 times, you send 3 air palms at a player. The animation of the Gale palm and the air palm are going to look different, of course. I think Gale palm should have low range for balancing issues, of course, and if you successfully hit all 3 into a target, they get knocked down or guard broken and have all their ninjutsus reset. For his ultimate ninjutsu, well, I think it's pretty obvious. Is the 8 Trigrams 64 palms. I think this ultimate should work the same way as Pain's or Boruto's, where you have to nail an attack beforehand that would then trigger the ultimate. So for Neji, he'd start with his stance, the image of the 8 Trigrams would appear under your feet, and the moment the initial attack connects, you perform the 8 Trigrams 64 palms animation. Damage wise, I don't think this should be a one-shot kill. The after effects would reset your ninjutsu and lower the speed of your ninjutsu cooldown along with your defense for a good period of time. The second DLC character is Temari. I think Temari should be a range type. Her wind techniques are usually performed at a distance in the anime. Not saying she can't handle her own when it comes to fighting with the fan, but based off of how she fights, she fits the range role more than anything. She could also spam small wind bullets instead of kunais as her ninja tool move. Now for her first ninjutsu, I think it should be her iconic summoning blade dance, where Kamatari, the name of her summoning, gets thrown at a target and once he connects, forms a mini tornado that damages players and sends them up in the air, like the water pillar technique. Now I know there's a very similar move with Boruto, but that's like a mini tornado. When I say mini, I mean a bit smaller than Mei's water pillar technique. This move should only lower defense. Her second ninjutsu should be the synchronized wind dance combo. Yes, I just made that up. If you played Storm 4 against Temari, then this should automatically click to you. It's her annoying ninja tool button spam where she sends multiple air bullets at you, then finishes with a bigger one. In this case, with Strikers, I think it should work the same way, but as the last air bullet connects, it knocks you down or automatically guard breaks. Now because this is an annoying spam technique, I won't give it any debuffs to opponents. And for her ultimate jutsu, it's the wind style Sea Dragon. I don't remember if this ever debuted in Naruto, but being a Boruto watcher, I do remember this popping up in the show. This essentially forms multiple giant green tornadoes. The purpose of this use in Boruto was to bring out someone hiding from the ground, and for those who despise Subterranean Voyage, this is your jutsu. How the jutsu would work is Temari would summon 4 giant tornadoes at a target, which deals continuous damage as you're stuck inside of them. If you use Subterranean, this drags you out of the ground and just like everyone else, you continue taking damage. Now before the tornadoes disappear, they send you flying high into the air with the inability to recover. So to recap, Temari forms the tornadoes, which deals continuous damage to players, and before the tornado disappears, they send all players flying into the air with the inability to move until you land back down. So this could draw plays to continue with a combo, or to use a second ultimate immediately after to finish the opponents. Now be warned, the damage for this ult is going to be pretty bad, but its cooldown will be quick. The reason for this is because of the fact that you can combo into it right after, so it needs to have its negatives, of course. The next DLC character is Shino. I think Shino will be a support character like he is in the anime. He's always had that backup role with his bugs. And on top of this, one of the ultimate jutsus for healers is Shino's, which honestly could have been his if he was in the game. Shino's first ninjutsu is the hidden jutsu Beetle Spear, where he forms a giant ball of insects and aims it towards the player. I think this should work the same way it was handled in Storm 4, where it has slow tracking, or Gator's Birds, where the tracking is slow but long. If this hits an opponent, guarding or not, the bugs will stick onto you and damage you over time. So if you weren't guarding when this attack landed on you, you take startup damage and then damage over time like a Matarasu. If you're guarding, then it just does damage over time. His second ninjutsu is a Parasitic insect technique, where he sends a small but super fast ball of insects at a player, and once it connects, it doesn't do any damage but instead seals your ninjutsu techniques and also lowers the ninjutsu cooldown of the player who launched it. So it initially steals your chakra away and gives it to the user. For his ultimate technique, I think it should be the groundbreaking insect technique, where insects from the ground up will cover a wide area. Any opponents caught in this technique will have their ninjutsu sealed, speed decreased, and take damage over time. Now what this does to the user who performed the technique is to have their whole team's ninjutsu cooldown speed increase as long as somebody gets caught within the area. If you try using it at an area where nobody is at, let's say for base battle, so they can't get a base, you might be able to avoid players from touching that area, but you yourself and your teammates will not get a buff, because no chakra is getting drained out. The fourth DLC character is Kiba, and I think Kiba should be an attack type. His first ninjutsu should of course be the Fang over Fang. So how this jutsu would work is Akamaru would transform to Kiba, and well, you remember what the technique looks like, so I won't go into any further detail there, but this move being as powerful as it is, should be able to guard break. People may wonder how this would work as CACs, and knowing the devs, I think a shadow clone version of ourselves would just pop up and we would then perform the technique. I doubt they're going to give us our own dogs as a weapon. His second ninjutsu could be the tunneling Fang over Fang technique, where Kiba sends Akamaru to attack a target using that drill technique. This jutsu should have a small cooldown of course, since it is a letdown version of the Fang over Fang, and of course it needs to have a buff, so I think this jutsu should bring up defense to the user. For CACs again, a shadow clone appears and performs a move instead. And lastly, for his ultimate jutsu, I think it should be the Wolf Fang over Fang, where Kiba and Akamaru both transform into a two-headed wolf. And like Sasuke Susanoo, it should attack in a straight line towards your target. This ability should be a one-hit kill while having a long cooldown. The fifth DLC character is Tenten. Tenten without a doubt should be a range character. I don't think I should really explain why, so let's discuss her quote-unquote ninjutsu. Her first ninjutsu is the blasting sphere technique, where she summons multiple mini ninja tools that explode over time. I think the ninja tools should circle around you, and if an opponent takes damage from these, it'll burn over time. Her next jutsu is a ninja tool barrage technique, where she jumps in the air and summons multiple different ninja tools that just fly all over the place, with no direct aim. This makes it confusing for players to dodge, of course. Each different ninja tool will have different effects. One could just be a regular ninja tool, one will be the exploding one I mentioned above, and one will be a ninja tool that guard breaks or knocks players down. Her ultimate jutsu is a weapon control gigantic iron ball. Again, if you played Storm 4, this works the exact same way. She summons a giant iron ball, but I added my own little sauce to it. When the ball is thrown down to the ground, on impact, will explode, sending multiple mini kunais all over the place. I think this all should be a one-hit kill with no debuffs to opponents, and of course, will have a fairly long cooldown. The sixth DLC character is A, the fourth Raikage. I think A will stick to being an attack type like B. 1. His lightning style chakra mode is used by attack types, and by the description of the jutsu I'm about to tell you, he plays perfectly as that attack role. A's first ninjutsu will be the Lariat Bolt of Pain, where he forms lightning through his hands and chops at your target, which sends you flying, while also having the ability to guard break. This move will also lower the defense of opponents affected by it. His next ninjutsu is the Liger Bomb, where A charges at an opponent and once caught, picks them up, jumps in the air, and slams them down. Well, you probably know how this move works, so I don't really need to go into detail. His ultimate ability is the Lightning Straight, where he coats himself in lightning style chakra mode and with insane speed, charges straight into one direction. He punches straight forward, and any enemy caught in this is damaged heavily while also being paralyzed on the ground. After you punch through your opponents at top speed, an after effect of a lightning bolt forms in the path you travel. The seventh DLC on this list is Nagato Uzumaki, which is one of the most anticipated characters, for me at least, in this game. I think Nagato Nagito would perfectly fit the defense role, again based off of the jutsus I'm about to give him. The first ninjutsu I have for Nagito is the Rinnegan's ninjutsu absorption technique, which is an ability one of the pains used in Naruto Shippuden. This technique is like a little force field that covers your whole body. I'd give this ability super armor, like Lightning Blade, to where it would probably take certain ultimates just to cancel out the animation of the technique. And the only reason I do that is because this ability does no damage. All it does is absorb ninjutsu attacks. And all you have to do as the player, realistically, is wait until the animation is over. The user does get a buff from this though, and that would be of course the ninjutsu cooldown boost. The next ability I'd give Nagito is pretty cool. I'd give him a summoning jutsu, but of course there are multiple animals you could summon. So what I propose is when you go to edit your loadout, you get the ability to choose one of the many summoning animals you want in your build. So when choosing the summoning jutsu, it then provides you a list of all the summonings you could use, and that one you pick is what will be used in battle. For his ultimate jutsu, I think he should have the Shura attack, where he pulls out a beam from his arm and shoots a giant blast at a target. This ability won't deal crazy damage or won't have any side effects towards opponents, so in this case it will have a low cooldown. The 8th DLC is Adult Konohamaru, Boruto. I think Konohamaru should be an attack type. His first ninjutsu is the fire style Burning Ash. I know this is Asuma's technique, but since this is most likely the last season, I doubt Asuma will make an appearance. The user blows out an ashy cloud, and if players are caught in it, they are stuck in that same animation you get when you throw a smoke bomb. That takes 20 years to recover from. The user then lights up the ash, which creates a giant explosion. This jutsu slows down the attack speed of players and adds a burn over time effect. His second ninjutsu is a summoning technique. Konohamaru summons Enra. For those who watch Boruto, they know what I'm talking about. And Enra in this game manually fights on his own. He uses the staff and attacks players at random with it. He of course has a small health bar and a limited time before he disappears. I think Enra should have a 20-second cooldown and a 10-second active time, which is how long he actually fights by your side. Now for his ultimate jutsu, and hear me out, is the wind style Rasengan. I know that it is very similar to the Rasengan, but again, if you watch Boruto or know about Adult Konohamaru, his Rasengan is stronger than the average. In the scene where his arm is trapped, he breaks free from it by his Rasengan, and you can tell it looks a little different. When he unleashes the jutsu, the impact it had to the area was big, like very big. So I think Konohamaru forms that Rasengan in his hand, and when it connects to a player, it creates a giant explosion that blows everyone around you away while also taking damage. I think this ability should be a one-hit kill to the opponent that was initially struck with it. But for those who are around the user, the explosion will draw damage and throw you back while slowing movement speed. The cooldown on this jutsu is of course pretty long. And last but definitely not least is Kaguya Otsutsuki. I think Kaguya needs to be a range type. It was hard for me to decide between range and defense, but with the abilities I'm giving her, she fits more into the range role. Her first ninjutsu is a dimensional drift technique, where she opens up a portal, enters through it, and puts herself at a random spot on the map. This technique will have an average cooldown, and once you hop out of the portal, your movement speed is temporarily increased. Her second ninjutsu is the 80 Gods Vacuum Fist. Again, if you played Storm 4, it's the ability where multiple fists consecutively punch a target. Afterwards, I think the last fist uppercuts you into the air. If you're guarding, however, I think it should instantly guard break. This ability can be used to destroy Sand Shield or Water Vortex. And for her ultimate ability, it's the Final Truth Seeker Orb, where your body transforms into the Final Truth Seeker Orb that slowly heads towards the target. This ability will kill the user itself, so in that case, like Night Guy, it needs to be overpowered. What I propose is that the moment this ability is performed, everyone within a large area close to the orb is greatly slowed down, meaning it is nearly impossible to escape from this jutsu if you are basically in the middle of it. Even at a distance, the slowdown effect still catches you, and the explosion radius is super big. If this ability kills you, your respawn time, like Night Guy, is doubled. I also think this ability should have a long cooldown. And there you have it, the conclusion to this Season 3 theory prediction video. If you liked today's video, I greatly appreciate a like, and if you love Shinobi Striker, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. This has been Chosen, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.